friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Rachel, and welcome to my mid-year book freakout tag. Today I'm going to be going through the mid-year book freakout tag and answering some questions about how my reading has gone so far this year. I've done this video every year since I started my YouTube channel, and I think it is just such a fun video to do. I think it's a really nice way to check in and then just set good intentions for the rest of the year and hopefully have some more amazing books to talk about by the end of the year. But I will say I have had a pretty strong start to this year. At the time that I am filming this, I have read 60 books. I've had a good mix of 5 stars, 4 stars. I haven't had too many 2-star reads, which I'm really happy about. I was just looking through my 2025 reading challenge, seeing all that I've read this year, and there weren't too many duds. There were definitely some duds though. We will get to that, but I feel like I have had a pretty good year, and I'm hoping that that vibe continues on as we get into the second half of the year. So I'm going to be going through the mid-year book freakout tag questions, but I'm not going to answer every single one. I think I'm just going to bounce around, keep it casual, and whatever I feel like answering, I will. So the very first question, which I definitely do want to answer, is what is the best book that you have read in 2025 so far? I don't know if I can pick a number one quite yet. I need to sit with it. I need to see how the rest of the year goes. So I have 4 books that stick out as some of my favorites that I've read this year. The first one, and if I had to pick a best book of the year so far, it would probably be this one, is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This just absolutely knocked me out. I loved this book so much. I went in excited, but I think I lowered my expectations a little bit because Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes wasn't quite like a 5-star for me. But going into this, I knew I was excited. I knew I was definitely more interested in Haymitch's story as opposed to Snow, but this blew me away. Truly, truly blew me away. I think this is absolutely incredible. I think it is right on par with the first book in the Hunger Games trilogy. I just think this is a beautiful, beautiful story. Suzanne Collins absolutely ripped my heart out with this one. I think about this a lot. I want to reread it before the year is over just because I want to experience it all over again. I'm so excited for the movie, and reading this book kind of reset what I think a 5-star is. Like, it's that serious. I read this and it kind of made me question a lot of other books that I've given 5 stars, because after I finished this, I was like, oh, this is such a unique feeling. And this is truly what a 5-star feeling is. And it's made me kind of moving forward not want to give out 5 stars so freely, so openly. I think I want to hold them closer to my chest just because knowing that this book gave me the feeling that it did. I know there are other books out there that can do that. Maybe not many. I don't know. It just kind of rewired my brain as far as my rating system goes. So this book to me just really sticks out. It's a book that I will reread for years to come. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read. So definitely Sunrise on the Reaping probably has that number 1 spot, but we'll see how I feel at the end of the year. All right, and then a few more contenders for my favorite book I read this year. Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. I think this book is incredible. I think this book is just perfection. I think everyone should read this book. It is a dark academia fantasy, and it is such a deep and compelling story. There's so much going on here, so many deep messages, such an emotional story. Oh my god, you guys, this book made me cry as well. I love it so much. M.L. Wong is incredible, and I will pick up anything that they write. And then also, I think this was my first 5-star of the year, and that's Tempest of Wrath and Vengeance. This is the 3rd book in the Legacy series. I just love this series so much. I have given every single book 5 stars, and they are truly, genuinely 5-star reads. I'm so excited for the finale to come out, and yeah, this just like had to be on the list because the Legacy series is like a god tier series to me. The next question is, what is the best sequel that you have read this year? I have 2 books for this question. Number 1 is A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. This is also a 5-star, also a contender for one of my favorite books I read this year. This is my favorite book in the An Ember in the Ashes quartet. I thought it was just so well done. It really changed my mind about some characters, and I love when a book can do that. And I just loved the way that the story went in this book and how the romance went. Like, everything was just perfect for me in A Torch Against the Night. I also really loved Onyx Storm. This is the 3rd book in the Empyrean series, a highly anticipated book for so many of us. I thought it was incredible. It is my favorite book in the series so far. I loved how deep the lore got. I love how intense the fantasy elements got. I feel like this was definitely a tone shift for the series, but I liked the shift. I was really into it, and I just love the characters, so I'm always gonna root for them. I'm always excited for them. For me, the Onyx Storm release was a big one because I was thinking, okay, depending on how Onyx Storm goes is going to decide how in on the Empyrean series I am, because Fourth Wing, super fun, great. I gave it 5 stars, but it's like a 5-star in the way that like I had a really good time. It was super fun. I was thoroughly entertained. And then Iron Flame was such a disappointment to me that it made me kind of question like, okay, how excited am I going to get about these future releases? How invested in the story am I going to get? I think I'm going to let Onyx Storm really decide that for me. And thankfully, she came through. I loved this book so much. I think it is chock full of amazing fantasy elements, plot lines, plot twists, heart-wrenching moments, amazing romance. I just really loved this book. I think it's so strong. The next question is, what is a new release that you want to get to but have not yet? The only thing that comes to mind is Echo Fort by Suzanne Valenti and Caroline Peckham. This is the sequel to Neverkeep. This is an enemies to lovers fantasy romance series. The first book takes place at this like military academy training school, and all of the characters have elemental powers, and they're kind of like separated based on their training and what they're going to be doing. And our two characters have these kind of like budding romances, but there's also like a lot more going on like politically, and the plot twists are crazy. The Twisted Sisters are always going to take it there. They are always going to do something absolutely wild, and they did. The ending of this book is devastating, but it has me so excited for Echo Fort. It also has two female main characters, so we're following their different POVs, which I really like, and just, I cannot wait to be back in this world, to be back with these characters, and pick up Echo Fort. All right, next is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I am actually going to be making a video talking about all of the new releases coming out in the second half of the year, because the other night I decided to just like make a list and see like, okay, what am I looking forward to? What do I need to keep an eye out for? And I have like 30 books that I'm looking forward to from now until the end of the year. So I am going to make a video sitting down and talking about all of those, but I will just say my number one most anticipated release for the second half of the year is Brimstone by Callie Hart. That is the sequel to Quicksilver. Quicksilver is one of my favorite fantasy romances I have ever read, so I am chomping at the bit to get Brimstone in my hands. Next is, what is the worst book that you have read this year? Like I said, I haven't had too many terrible books. I haven't gone through like a lot of 2-star reads, but the books that stand out to me when I think of the worst, the most disappointing, number one is going to be Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields. I just did not like this book at all. It is an arranged marriage fantasy romance. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the romance. By the end of the book, I did not think our characters should be together, and that's kind of going to be like the final nail in the coffin for me. So I really don't like that book. Another book that I was very disappointed by, and is one of my least favorite books I read this year, is Shield of Sparrows by Daphne Perry, which I am shocked by because I was really excited for this book and I wanted to love it, and I feel like so many people love this book. I don't know, it did not hit for me at all. I found our main character really annoying. I wasn't in on the romance. I didn't really care so much for the plot. I do like that there were monsters in this book. I think that that is great. I wish that more fantasy books had more like mythical creatures and monsters, but overall, this is a 2.5-star read for me. I think it is just a very like, it doesn't stand out to me at all. I read so many fantasy romances, and this did nothing for me, and I'm not going to be picking up the sequel. I am so not invested in the characters. So yeah, that's definitely one of my least favorite books I've read this year. I'll also say Servant of Earth. I was really looking forward to this, but this was a 2-star for me, and kind of similar to Shield of Sparrows. I wasn't into the characters. The storyline was not interesting. The romance I don't think was like exciting or well developed or tension filled. I just think it's not for me. For whatever reason, I am not the reader for Servant of Earth or Shield of Sparrows. They just didn't hit me at all, and I remember feeling with both of them like, oh, I can't wait for these books to be over. All right, next up is, what is the biggest surprise of the year so far? And I have to give it to A Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I had pretty much given up on ever reading a JLA book again because I just haven't had luck with her books. I DNF'd the From Blood and Ash series. I did not like Fall of Ruin and Wrath, and I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna pick her books up anymore. But I decided to pick up A Shadow in the Ember earlier this year, and I loved it. It was feeling like a 5-star for the first half of it, but then I do think that the pacing kind of struggled there through the middle and things really slowed down. But I think this book is great. I really do. I really liked it. I also like how much detail is in this book and how this is so much more than a romance. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of lore here. There is a lot of plotting and planning that I can see JLA put into this book, and I'm excited to see kind of how it all pans out. So I'm definitely going to continue on with the series. I'm excited about it. I like the characters. I just was completely blown away by how much I loved this book. Next, who is your favorite favorite new author, new to you, or debut. Definitely going to have to be Sabaa Tahir. My very first book of 2025 was An Ember in the Ashes. I loved it. It was amazing. A Torch Against the Night was amazing. A Reaper at the Gates, amazing. I just started A Sky Beyond the Storm. Pour one out for me because I'm not going to be okay by the end of it. And I love it. I can't wait to pick up Air by Sabaa Tahir. I just love the way that she writes fantasy. I just think it's so good. And I think the way that she does character work and then also keeps the plot moving is really, really well done. And it's just how I like it. So Sabaa Tahir is definitely going to be like a new auto-buy fantasy author for me. The next one is, what is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year? I have bought a lot of really beautiful books this year. I feel like the FairyLoot Romantasy subscription has really picked it up this year from last year. I feel like they have picked better books and I feel like the designs are really great. But I'm actually going to talk about a book that was not part of the subscription, but it is from FairyLoot, and that is the Gods and Monsters editions from FairyLoot. So this is just the first book, the Book of Azrael, which I grabbed. I really, really love the dust jacket, the spine, the back, super pretty. The stenciled edges are great, but my favorite thing about this book is what is under the dust jacket. And I think the art is just absolutely beautiful. I love our characters. They look so great. And then the back is just really cool. This just gets the vibe of the series so well. It is a darker urban fantasy romance, and I just think that they really nailed it with this, and I love these editions. Final question, what are the books that you need to read by the end of the year? Where do I start? So many. I think that I am really going to kind of reprioritize what my original plans were for the year. Mainly, I am probably going to hold off from doing too many rereads. I am rereading the ACOTAR series, and I will be putting out a full spoilery vlog for that. That will be coming either this month or next month. But after that, I was planning to reread Throne of Glass and Crescent City. I don't think that's going to happen this year, just because Throne of Glass is like 8 books long. And like once you get to Heir of Fire, all the books are over 500 pages. And I just need to be focusing on newer books. So I think I am going to hold off on rereading Throne of Glass and Crescent City for now. I think whenever SJM decides to let us know when the next ACOTAR book is coming out, maybe I'll do like a full reread of all of her books. But yeah, I'm gonna be holding off on doing any big series rereads. I've also contemplated rereading the Zodiac Academy series. I'm literally insane. I'm not gonna be doing that. I don't think I'm gonna be doing that. I don't know. I can't. But it's not off the table. I am really going to be focusing on reading books, number one, by new to me authors. I have just really enjoyed reading from new authors and keeping things fresh and just trying out different writing styles and different stories. And that's something that I really want to focus on for the rest of the year. I also have my 25 books to read in 2025. Let's have a little accountability moment, shall we? I will tell you guys where I am at with that. Of the 25 books that I put in my 25 books to read in 2025 video last December, I have read 6. I have read 6. Yes, that is real. That is what I am saying to you right now. So I have 19 books to read from my 25 books to read in 2025. And if I can be so real with you, I'm not really in the mood for a lot of them. Some of them I am, like The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I did put that on my June TBR. I just didn't get to it, but I am gonna try to fit it into July. I at least added it to my TBR in my phone to try to get to. But yeah, I don't know, there's just some books that I'm like, do I wanna read that one day? Absolutely. Do I wanna read it anytime soon? Well, no, not right now. We're gonna work on this though. I do want to try to get as many of these books read as possible. We'll see. Honestly, a lot of them are giving like fall vibes. It's a lot of like bigger fantasies, like A Song of Ice and Fire and Empire the Vampire. Those books definitely give me fall vibes. So maybe that will be something that we tackle in the Burr months. But I just want to read whatever I want, to be quite honest with you. And what I want is to read from new authors. I do want to continue on with the series. I really enjoy finishing series. I'm honestly really proud of myself because I started this series this year, as I said, An Ember in the Ashes. That was the very first book I read in January of this year. I'm really proud of myself that I'm finishing the series in July. Like, I think that's pretty good. I historically have been someone who has read the first book in a series and gone, oh my God, loved that. And then just didn't continue on with the series for like a year. And that is kind of strange behavior because then I pick up the rest of the series like a year later and I'm like, wait, who are you? What happened? I definitely want to try to focus on continuing series, getting things done, but then also I need to allow the mood reading to take over as well. I don't want to force myself to read anything. All right, friends, so that is going to be it for my mid-year book freak out tag. I would love to hear from you. What is your favorite book that you've read this year? Or you can give me like your top 3. And then also, what are some books that you have for the rest of the year that you're like, oh, I need to read those, whether they are new releases or they're just books that you've owned forever that you're like, oh my God, I need to read. Yeah, I just want to hear all about the books that you guys are loving this year. Or if you wanted to leave an emoji to let me know that you've made it to this point, go ahead and leave the fairy emoji. Please make sure that you're following me on all of my social media. They are all linked down below. I have my TikTok, my Instagram, and my Goodreads. I also have my Patreon. That is where I host my fantasy romance forest book club, and we do reading sprints, bonus videos. We are doing a series read along right now. It is a very fun time. So that is linked down there as well. And I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you are having a fantastic day. I love you all so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one.